Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 6, 2023, and we're getting into the volume 54 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up. Before I begin though, I'm going to mention I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information that I provide in my videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first comment from BZMJN. BZ, probably mispronounced it, but when I tried to change my address online, it states you cannot edit your mailing address or physical address during this part of the adjudication process. Interesting. I have never encountered an error like this. I've never seen anything like this. What I would recommend you to do, if the change of address, if you cannot wait and you cannot try it later, let's say for example, if you already moved maybe, or you're planning to move within the next couple weeks, and you really do need to update your address, I would recommend just sending it by mail, printing out the I'm going to show you the form. You probably already know, but I'm going to show you anyway to demonstrate the navigation on USCIS website. Here it is, official government website.gov. We're gonna go to forms and we're gonna go to all forms. That's where all of the immigration forms are, and the very first form is AR11, aliens change of address. What you're doing is you're trying to file it online, but instead of filing it online, just get the form itself. Here it is, the PDF. I'm gonna open it up right here and print it out, fill it out, and just send it by mail. Of course, it is a much slower process, but just in case, if the error is something with the online process, with the online address change form, just in case you kind of bypass that whole online. That's the downside of dealing with stuff that is online, because now you're dealing with technology, and sometimes technology goes wrong. All right, sometimes things happen that you don't want. I mean, it is possible that there is some I mean, adjudication process, adjustment of status, whatever part of the immigration process you're going through, really whatever it is, technically you should be able to update the address regardless, because even if you have the adjustment of status, adjudication going, or naturalization, or asylum, refugee, whatever status it is in the interest of USCIS to have your updated address. So that's why I'm kind of thinking it might be something that has to do with technological error rather than something really preventing you to change the address. That's why I would say, just in case, to be on the safe side, if you cannot wait, if you're moving soon, make sure to send it by mail, at least physical, so that at least they have, just in case if it is a technological error. All right, let's move on to the next comment from Emizium Kingsley. Thank you so much for your immigration information. Emizium, you're very welcome. Thank you for watching and asking questions. It gives me hope every time I listen to you. My mom, who is US citizen and is worried about the long delays since she petitioned for me and my siblings back in 2014. And we are all documentarily qualified since 2021. I'm using your channels to give her hope that everything is moving well. She's getting older and need us to be around her because she's not longer working again. Age 68. You really make me understand more about the process. My eyes is now on the movement of visa bulletin under F1 to know when it will become current for our availability of visa. So let's see, you said 2014, April 2023, we got visa bulletin right here. Okay, yeah, so yes, so it's August 2016. So you're already over that. So that technically, according to the visa bulletin as of April 2023. Now, don't get me wrong. We all know very well that this is fake news. Let's just say that. This is completely the whole F1 fake news, F2B, even the F2A here. This whole graph is incorrect information. The only thing that is updated as of April 2023, on the April 2023 visa bulletin, is the F2A, and we can see it if we compare April 2023 with March 2023. We will see that the only thing that really updated is the F2A. So everything else has been the same for the past year and a half. So we know that these dates are not correct. However, here's the thing. Because you have that on the visa bulletin, because you are already documentarily qualified, and technically you do have an emergency situation. You know, your mother, she's getting older, she needs help, she's not working, she needs her children around her. That is emergency situation. At least to me. If it's not to USCIS or NVC or whoever in Congress, honestly, I can care less. In my eyes, it is, and in your eyes, it is an emergency. So what I would recommend you to do is to kind of give a little bit of a nudge to NVC, because you're already documentarily qualified. And according to Visa Bulletin, your visa should already be available. Now, we all perfectly know that it's probably not available yet, because these are way out of date and they have not been updated for a long time. But this is what Visa Bulletin is showing us, and this is what we go by. So again, with that being said, I recommend submitting the NVC expedited request. You probably already seen the video that I've made on it. Just send the email to NVC saying, hey, Visa Bulletin is showing that my immigrant visa should be available. I'm already documentarily qualified, and there's a serious situation. My mother is getting older, she's not working, she needs support, she needs children around her. And give it a shot. If it works, great. If it's not, at least you give them a little bit of a nudge to, to remember that immigrants, we're not just going to sit around. We're doing everything legally, and we go by the dates and numbers that they give us. So, where's my visa? What's going on? What's happening? So that's pertaining to your immigration process that is going. As an option, you always have the non-immigrant visa as well. Just a regular visitor visa. Your mom can send you just a regular invitation, and the invitation is, I am this and this, a mother of you, name, date of birth, passport details, all the details, right? Identifying information. And then the reason why she's inviting you, which, it's obvious, I haven't seen my son, I haven't seen my children in a very long time. I would like them to come and visit me. And that's really it. So you go for an interview for a non-immigrant visa, and while you're waiting for the alien relative petition to be processed and your immigrant visa to become available, at least you will have possibly, it's not obviously guaranteed that they will give you that non-immigrant visa. They might deny, I don't know. It really depends on which country, where you are. Some countries it's a little bit easier to get the non-immigrant visa. Some countries it's harder. Like in the country where I'm from, it's if you go to a non-immigrant visa interview and you get the non-immigrant visa, consider yourself lucky. Everybody looks at you like, wow, how did you do that? Because it's really hard. It's really hard from my country. But nevertheless, it's an option and you can try it. And if you do get that non-immigrant visa while you're waiting for that immigrant petition to, it's already processed. Really, you're waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa. And while you're waiting, at least you will have the opportunity to come here and, not reunite with your mother, but at least have the opportunity to come here and visit her while you're waiting for the immigrant visa to become available. So I really hope that it works out for you faster. Again, this is what I would personally do if I was in your situation. You can not do anything at all and really just find more patients. And you've been already waiting since 2014. This is a really, really long time. And for everyone who's watching, it's good, for other people who are watching these videos, it does become a little bit like an eye-opening experience. At least to me, it was back, 10 years ago when probably even longer than that, when I actually face-to-face came with backlog and all of these delays that are associated with the immigration process, and how I realized that when you do things the right way legally, right, like they want you to do, you follow all the bureaucracy and you wait and you pay fees and you go through all these background checks and it's still put on the top shelf somewhere, and it's not fair. And I really hope that something's going to be done about it, something's going to change, and hopefully, with this channel, one of the goals that I had, making this channel is obviously help people, but also bring awareness about how bad some of these things, you wouldn't even realize. I mean, F1 category is a child of a US citizen waiting since 2014. Just think about that. Already 9 years. Just think about that. All right, let's move on to the next comment from Joel Flores. Thanks so much. Yeah, my employer thinks it's better to go back and get a new visa, more cheap, less paperwork. Yeah, Joel, a lot of times it is, especially I think you had a TN visa. With that one, they pretty much say it. When they say it on USCIS right there on the website, that just go back and come back with the updated status, updated visa. Yeah, it probably is much easier to do it that way compared to doing the extension or filing the new, what was it, I-129, I believe, if I'm correct, if your employer is even willing to sponsor you for that. All right, let's move on to the next comment from Layla Arslan. Hello, I will seek asylum with my family. I have husband and 2 sons, age 11 and 1. How many I-589 forms do I need to fill out for this? I will be very happy if you inform me about this. Respectfully and thank you. Layla, thank you very much for your question. I'll do my best to answer it properly. So whenever it comes to I-589 application, the good thing about it is when you are applying, if you are, let's say, the main petitioner, the main applicant on the form I-589, your spouse, your children, they are all dependents and they're all part of the same application package. So you don't need to file separate application for yourself, separate application for the husband, separate application for children. Like, for example, in I-130 petition, that is one of the most talked subjects on this channel, I-130 family reunification petition, petition for alien relative. I-589 is not like that, it's just one application. However, with that being said, there is a requirement whenever it comes to copies. Depending on how many people are on the application, you will have to send the appropriate amount of copies. So I will try to tell you exactly how many copies you need to send. We're gonna go again to forms. And actually, let's start from the very beginning. This is the homepage for USCIS. We're gonna go to forms on the top navigation menu, and maybe to somebody it's like, why am I doing this? It's annoying, but I really want to. It's one thing where I can just give you an answer and say, oh, do it this way, and that's it. But I think it's another thing where I can actually show you the process of finding the answer for yourself. First of all, you will be sure that the information that I gave you is correct because I'm doing it in front of you. I'm giving you from the official government source. But at the same time, next time, if you have any additional questions, I'm not saying that you can't come and ask them. Absolutely. However many questions you have, more than welcome to come and ask them here on this channel. But at the same time, you will be more familiar with the process. You will be more familiar with the source where to get that correct information. So we are on I-589 page right here. We're gonna open up right here forms, instructions for forms. We got the form itself, but we're gonna go to instructions. And the last time I checked in the instructions, we had the copy. So let's see if I can not take too long time to find the answer. Who may file and filing deadlines? No. Eligibility, withholding of removal? No. Confidentiality, right to counsel, obtaining and completing the form. Okay. Oh, okay, there you go. Spouse and children. You must list your spouse and all your children, including your stepchildren, blah, 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 and adult children in this application, regardless of the age, marital status. Okay. Whether they are in the United States or whether not. They are included in this application or are filing a separate asylum application. Okay, makes sense. In addition, you may include your asylum application, your spouse, in your asylum application, your spouse, and or any children who are under 21 years of age and unmarried if they are in the United States. So yes, definitely in one package. That just answered that question. Children who are married, blah, 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 this is not applicable to you. Including your spouse and your children in your asylum application means that if USCIS or EOIR approves your application, your spouse, or your children, should be and or your children, will also be approved. which is great. On the other hand, if you are not approved for asylum, your spouse and or children are also not approved. Makes sense. If you apply for asylum while in proceedings before blah blah blah, when including family members, there we go. When including family members in your asylum application, you must submit one additional copy of your completed asylum application and primary documentary evidence establishing your family relationship for each family member. As described below, if you are including your spouse in your application, submit 3 copies of your marriage certificate and 3 copies of proof of termination of any prior marriages. Alright, so just 3 marriage certificates. If you are including any unmarried children under 21 years of age in your application, submit 3 copies of each child's birth certificate. Okay, so let's see now. What do we have? So we have one main application that is I-589 that is, I guess you will have to figure out. It really depends. In some situations, you will have to figure out with your husband. In some situations, it's better to put, one spouse as the main, applicant for the asylum. In some situations, kind of both spouses are involved. It really comes down to the whole reasoning why you're claiming asylum status, right? You're being persecuted in the home country, you're here in the United States, and you don't want to go back there because it's danger. You can't go back there. Is it you specifically that has the issue of going back, that's being persecuted, or is it your husband, or is it both of you? And if it is both of you, which one has more whose side of the story will provide a little bit more light on the situation, if that makes sense? All right, so if that's the case, if both of you are kind of involved, which, I mean, you are obviously, both of you are involved because you're husband and wife. That makes sense. But what I'm trying to say is that in that persecution, right, that is happening in the home country, whose side of the story will be able to provide more light on the situation, obviously has ability to provide more evidence whenever it comes to the situation, right? Some kind of corroborating evidence. So you will have to decide. So let's say you are the main asylum applicant. Your form, I-589, main application. Then we would have one additional copy for your completed asylum application and then for each family member. So that means one main I-589 application, let's say for you, let's say you're the applicant and your husband is dependent. Obviously your 2 kids are dependent as well. One copy for your husband, one copy for your child, one copy for your second child. So you will have total 4 of these applications going. One main I-589, the original, right? Signed and everything. And then 3 copies, one for each additional family member. And then, of course, we get to the primary documentary evidence. Now, here, you see they are talking about primary evidence. They're not talking about the evidence in general. Like, for example, let's say you have, for your asylum case, you have, let's say you have police reports, you have some kind of medical statements, you have maybe reports from a World Health Organization, or I don't know, something like this, something along those lines. Again, there is corroborating evidence that is very specific to your case, very specific to you. Like, for example, police reports, medical statements, right? If there was something, if something bad happened and person was in a hospital, they will have the medical reports, right? Very specific to that person. And also you have the evidence that shows that the things that happened to this individual that is claiming asylum is happening in that country to a certain group of people. All right, let's, for example, if you are claiming asylum based on some kind of religious persecution or persecution based on some kind of political views, possibly you can find a report, and a lot of times you will find these organizations that are all over the world, UN. There are reports that they do on the whole country. And in these reports, sometimes if that's the case, they say, okay, so we have this group that is minority, that it believes that they have a certain religion, right? And they are being persecuted by this whole group, all right? By the whole country, or by government, or by whatever. You get the point. So you have specific evidence, and then you have this major evidence. For the case, this kind of evidence, you don't have to make a copy of and provide, because a lot of times you will have a good amount of paper there, all right? And if you triple it, 3 additional copies, it might make the application pretty big, pretty thick. And a lot of times asylum applications, initial applications that you send, the initial application package, it does come out to be pretty thick. That's pretty normal. What they are asking for whenever it comes to the copies of the evidence is just the primary documentary evidence, and that is the evidence that establishes the relationships. Marriage certificates, birth certificates. Those, yes, you will have to do the copies, but the main evidence, you don't. So, once again, 1 mail application, 3 copies of that application for each additional family member, and then just the copies of the primary evidence. Not the evidence that shows what you're saying about the asylum, corroborates all of that stuff. Not that, but the primary evidence. Okay, so now you know where to find these answers, and I think I might have answered your question. Okay, I'm gonna put this, and we're gonna move on to the next one. Sorry if I took too long answering, and sorry if I repeat. Sorry if I repeat a lot of things. I do repeat a lot of things. But again, I don't want to treat people, just read and there, this is the answer. That's not why I started this channel. I started this channel to really, you come to me with a question, it means you trust me with an answer, okay? And I'm not gonna abuse that trust and just give you something just to pretend like I answer. I really want to help. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Lois, Kiara, Richard. I've heard that if I have food stamps or Medicaid, I won't have to pay the $410 fee. It will be free. Is this true? Please. If it's true, can you tell me how to do it, please? Lois, thank you very much for your question. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so it does not guarantee that your fee will be waived. But you can definitely submit a fee waiver. I've actually done a video specifically on the fee waiver, and let me see if I can. That's the wrong page. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube, and I can give this to you. Put it in the link. Let's see. So fee waiver USCIS. There we go. Here we go. All right, so I got the video. I'm gonna post the link, and I will also show you how to find this application on USCIS website. We're gonna go into the forms. We're gonna go to all forms, and the form is 912. There we go, request for a fee waiver. And basically the way it works, it's very simple, it's very straightforward. I'm gonna open up the form here so that you can kind of see what it looks like. Don't let this scare you away. Basically all these fields, they're asking for your financial information. Basically they want to make sure that you are experiencing a financial hardship before they approve your fee waiver. But one of the requirements to be eligible for the fee waiver is being a recipient of those public benefits, which are the food stamps, Medicaid, all that sort of stuff. So if you're already receiving the food stamps and the Medicaid, then you definitely do meet the requirements, the criteria for that fee waiver. So you would have to, and you were asking the question on I-765. So with your application, the I-765, you would have to attach that fee waiver and then send it as one package together with the I-765 application. And unfortunately, it's at the discretion of USCIS. And sometimes, even if you do receive the public benefits, even if you do seem like you have good reason for that fee to be waived, sometimes they deny those fee waivers. Don't be surprised, don't be upset about it. Unfortunately, it's at their discretion. But nevertheless, you definitely do meet all the requirements, and I would definitely recommend sending in that fee waiver. So I'm gonna post this, and I'll also, here is the video. Oops, can't talk and type at the same time. Let's see, copy. Here you go. And this is the video for on how to fill out that form, how to file that fee waiver. There I talk about in a little bit more detail. If you do have any follow-up questions, always don't hesitate to ask them. Just make sure to submit a separate comment. Don't respond to this comment. Anyone who's watching, don't respond to my comment within your comment, because YouTube, for some reason, they don't send me notification when you responded like that. All right, let's move on to the next one from Michael Maxwell. Sir, how can I send you a message privately, please? Michael, you can use the email that is in about section of this channel. You can do that. Please don't give me any personal information though in the email, because if you do give me personal information, then my answer would be considered consultation, and legally I cannot provide the consultation. I don't do this for money. I don't have a service or business that offers some kind of consultation in immigration or anything like this. That's why this channel is called Free Immigration Help. That's why I'm answering the questions just like this and not through any other, just so that nobody, because if you think about it, there are some people who would not like what I'm doing, especially in the legal field. Basically I'm taking away, and I'm completely fine with it. I'm completely okay with it, because a lot of these immigration professionals, they take advantage of people, unfortunately, when you don't know what you're doing, when you don't know how much it costs. For example, Lois, right? I-765, okay? It costs $410, the application itself, okay? And for Lois specifically, there is an opportunity to actually file it completely for free. Why? Because she's receiving public benefits. But if she goes to an immigration professional who is authorized to give the consultations, who is authorized to perform services, render services in the field of immigration law, or whatever other law, you get the point, she will be charged a significant amount of money, at least the same amount as the application itself, plus the application fee. And this is going to be cheap. If she's just charged $400 to file this application that costs $400, plus $400, obviously, because you do still have to pay for the application, plus you pay for the services. It's a good price if you do it for $400, if they help you. But at the same time, there isn't really much done, because you just go through the application and you fill it out. You fill it out with your own information. Does it help that someone is sitting you and telling you, okay, put your name here? Maybe, but most of us who can read and who can comprehend stuff, we can read, it says full name, okay, so I'll put my full name. And that's really it. I'm not saying that it doesn't justify the amount of money. $400, maybe it is fair, but a lot of times it's a lot more. A lot more. 3, 4, 5 times more than than the application itself, plus the application, plus the mailing, plus all the consultations, plus you call on the phone and have a question and they answer a question for $200 an hour. It becomes ridiculous, and a lot of times you see people stuck with these crazy fees, and their immigration cases are just in limbo. And I think the biggest problem with stuff like this is not even the fact that you pay a lot of money, or the fact that the biggest problem with this is, okay, you lose the money, you make the money. Honestly, I don't really care about the money. The biggest problem is that it's your case. And a lot of times when we hire immigration professionals and give away the case and we think that they will handle it for us, it's a huge misconception, and it's a huge possibility for a lot of other problems that can come. Because if you are in control of the case, you pay attention, you took the time to do your research, to go to USCIS, look through the forms, read through all this, through the instructions. There's a lot of stuff. It takes time. But if you really do put time to read through all this, and you should, you will understand the process. And a lot of mistakes that can come out of the process, you will prevent them. If you need to change the address, you know you need to change the address. You know how to do it. You file it. If you need to submit an additional evidence, you know how to do it because you sent the initial evidence yourself already. So it's nothing. You're, okay, additional evidence. All right. You don't rely on somebody else every time. And who cares about your case more than you? You should be the one who cares about your case more than anybody else, right? So that's really we're being back to Michael though. Sorry if I went on a long thing. You can certainly send me an email if you are uncomfortable posting something here, some kind of question. You can certainly send me the email. Please just don't give me any kind of personal information like name, date of birth, all that sort of stuff. Don't send me that, because if you do, then it's going to be considered a consultation. It's going to be considered, and I cannot do that. Legally, I cannot do that. All right, let's move on to the next question from Annette. Annette, you're very welcome. I'm glad. I hope my answer was helpful. I appreciate your response. Let's move on to the next one from Lan. Lan, I remember your comment. We spoke in the chat. If the couple submits a B2 extension applicant separately online, how can the two forms be connected without wanting to submit a paper application? I know you already know the answer because I answered it in the chat room, but I'm gonna answer it again, and I'll post the thing. Just letting you know that I've addressed it because I kind of did want to address it this way. It's one thing for me to type up the sentence. I'm not good at typing stuff anyway, or like delivering my point through the chat. It's very hard. It's much easier to address it like this. Unfortunately, like I said, there is no way whenever it comes to I-539, the extension or change of status, those forms, the only way to make them work together is using the I-539 and then I-539A, a supplemental one for each additional person that goes on the same package. There is a huge advantage to doing it. Yes, there's a disadvantage of filing it by mail. That's true. But there's a huge advantage of doing it that way because you are saving, and let me actually look it up and tell you exactly how much you're saving, because I don't know right off the bat how much they are as of right now. Let's see, 539, application to extend or change, to extend, change non-immigrant status, and filing fee, $370. So let's say you're filing. I don't remember. I'm not sure. You said couple. You just said couple. So whoever it is, whether it's your fiance, spouse, whoever, right? If you do file two separate applications, it's going to be $370 for one application and $370 for another application. You can prevent that. You can avoid that. If you file it all together, then it's going to be just one $370. Granted, you most likely will have to pay yes, you definitely do have. See, you and each co-applicant must also pay $85. So you will actually save a little bit more. Let me do some calculation. My math is horrible, so I have the calculator here. So 370 plus 85 equals 455 multiplied by 2, 910. This is what you will pay, 910, if you file those applications online separately. But if you do send them by mail using the I-539A supplemental, then you're only gonna pay 370 plus 85 plus another 85 because there's two, 540. Plus obviously your mailing cost because you're sending physical. So yes, it's there's of course disadvantage sending by mail. It takes time. It's annoying. You have to deal with the paperwork. But on the plus side, your application is being processed together for sure, and you are saving some substantial money. It's like $400, I think. My math is horrible. I don't know why it's so bad, but let's move on to the next one. Okay, can you send a comment? Yes, I saw that. I'm gonna just do this, and we're gonna move on to our very last comment today from Sirgut. I asked a question on volume 52, brother. I am waiting for a detailed explanation today. Sirgut, always great to hear from you, and yes, I have addressed it in volume 52. I really do hope, Sirgut, that you're gonna have some additional questions for me, because the more questions I receive on this channel, honestly, the better, because it gives me the opportunity to make these videos and answer more questions, and it's great. You know, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy helping people. I am an immigrant myself. All this stuff that you guys are going through, I've been through all of this stuff. I've dealt with, in this video, literally with everything. Literally with every single thing that was asked in this video, in this particular volume, in the comments. I've been through that personally. So, you know, I did not have anyone who could guide me like this. I only had people that took advantage of, unfortunately. But nevertheless, it did work out, and it was a blessing at the end of the day. Why? Because I learned so much about it. And now, to me, navigating through this web of bureaucracy and paperwork and applications and petitions, it feels natural. I don't like the system, but I can navigate it, and I can help other people navigate it. And hopefully, if everybody would start caring and doing it yourself and learning about the process and bringing awareness to the issues that there are with the system, maybe we can do some positive change. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for asking your question. Always appreciate your time. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.